Welcome to SETTALKS Podcast, the show where we break down the biggest cybersecurity threats and teach you how to stay safe in today's digital world. I'm Muiz Adigun, your host for today, and I'm here with Favor Okolocha. And today we are talking about something that has left many Nigerians waking up to empty bank accounts and unauthorized transactions they never approved. We are diving into SIM swap fraud, bank hacks, and the sneaky ways cyber criminals are stealing your money. Let me ask you, have you ever received a call from your bank asking for personal details? Have you suddenly lost your mobile network and later found out your account was drained? Do you think your one time password is enough to keep your money safe? Think again. Cyber criminals are evolving, and if you don't stay ahead of them, you could be their next target. What you learn today, how SIM swap frauds works, and how criminals hijack your phone number, how hackers bypass OTPs and mobile bank mobile banking security. Real life stories of people who lost everything and how you can avoid the same fate. The best ways to protect your account and recover stolen funds. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most dangerous but least understood scams, SIM swap fraud. Favor, can you please enlighten us about what SIM swap fraud is?
Okay, thank you very much. It's an exciting one yet again. I'm happy to be on this episode once again. It's quite an interesting topic. Uh, so let me paint this scenario for our listeners. You know, how let's say you wake up on one morning and then you try to check your phone, but then you notice that there is no single service and you try to restart it thinking it's a network issue. You're experiencing a particular network issue, but then you still notice that there's no change, and some minutes later you just receive a notification that there has been a deduction or a debit from your account worth 500,000 naira. Your money is gone and your phone is not just working or responding. You are locked out of everything. So what exactly could have happened? Someone just stole your mobile number and used it to drain your bank account. That's the likely implication of what happened. So we're going to be talking expressively on SIM swap fraud and just basically touching on what happens. So how does SIM swap fraud works? Just as Moise just asked. So I'm just going to take us through the steps of what usually occurs in a SIM swap fraud. So basically, the first thing that happens is that a particular hacker gathers your personal details. This could be your phone number, your name, your BVN, and even your mother's maiden name. And the second thing they do is they impersonate you and contact your mobile network provider with messaging along this line: "Hello, my SIM card has been damaged and I need it to do a SIM swap." So what usually happens is that the network provider issues them a new SIM card with your same phone number. Now they receive all your calls and SMS, and most importantly your banking OTPs. So they reset your passwords, log into your bank account, and they steal your money. So that's just basically what happens in a typical SIM swap fraud. You know, so that's just on the basic and foundational level. That's just what a SIM swap fraud looks like.
This scam is shockingly simple but devastatingly effective. So, how do you think our listeners can protect themselves from this SIM swap fraud?
Oh yes, as scary as it might seem, there are actually steps and ways at which you can, protect yourself from uh, such frauds or such activities. One thing you need to do is to activate a SIM lock on your phone. Majority of us listening are not even aware of this particular feature, but every SIM card, every smartphone, basically, every phone basically has a particular setting where you can activate a SIM card lock on your phone, so no one can swap your SIM without your PIN. That particular PIN you used to lock your SIM. You can always use email-based OTPs instead of SMS. That's if your bank even allows it. But most banks nowadays they allow email based OTPs. So another thing you should avoid doing is to avoid sharing your BVN or personal details with anyone over the phone. Anyone calls you requesting for your personal details, your BVN, your personal details or your account details, try to avoid sharing such information over the phone. It's part of the methods at which these hackers and criminals try to gain access to your personal details to perpetrate some of these activities or these acts. So those are three simple steps that our listeners can follow. Activate a SIM lock on your phone. Make sure you try to use email-based OTPs rather than relying or depending only on SMS OTP. And avoid sharing your personal details, your BVN, your personal information, your bank name, or your account details. So those are simple steps that our listeners can take to avoid this particular act. You know.
Okay, so many people think that if their bank sends them OTP, so they think they are safe. So how do you think hackers bypass bank securities and OTPs?
Okay, this is an interesting question. Many people, they just as you said, they think once your bank send you, they think they're safe. But hackers have found ways to, you know, they have found ways around it. So one thing they usually do is a remote access attack. you know so let me ask, I don't know if any of our listeners, I'm not going to obviously get a response over this podcast, but I want you to question yourself. Have you ever downloaded uh, a random app or clicked on a suspicious link? You can leave your your answers in the comments. Some attackers will trick you into downloading spyware that records on everything you type, and then they steal your password and even control your phone remotely. So those of us that are fond of downloading applications, downloading certain tools from all these dodgy webs, all these sketchy websites that are not even, you know, all these websites that look odd, or all these dangerous websites, you know. So most attackers will try to attach some spyware to some of these programs you are downloading, some of these applications you are downloading, and the aim is to solely monitor your activity on your phone. That is, whatever it is you are typing on your phone, whatever it is you are doing on your phone, just to record it, and everything you do on your phone, your inputs into your phone, they try to record it. So their main aim is to steal your password and even control your phone entirely, remotely. It's very sad, and it is very prevalent in our today in our today's world. So it's something that most hackers do. Another thing they do is fake customer service calls. This is probably the most popular method that they do. You get a call from someone that is claiming to be your bank customer support, or from your bank customer care or something like that. They usually sound very professional. They might even know your name. They will call your name, they mention your name, so to ensure that you trust them or you believe. So they tell you that there's an issue with your accounts, and then we need to verify your OTP. So you give them the OTP that was sent to your phone, and then boom, your account is empty. you know uh Another thing they try to do is insider threats from the bank. This is even very scary, as as it sounds. Some of these fraudsters, they try to bribe some of these bank employees to leak or share customer data, or process fraudulent transactions. So although this is very very rare, but it is a very much it's a possibility now, and it has happened on some few occasions. So they try to bribe bank employees to leak your data, even your password that you think is strong. An insider can override some of their security measures. you know So these are some of the activities. These are some of the ways at which these attackers or criminals can bypass some of these security protocols. You know.
Okay. Is there a real life fraud case experience that you would like to share with us?
Oh yes. As early as this year, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a businessman actually, and he lost his total sum of 2 million naira overnight. You know, he said he got a call from me. I was even surprised when he narrated the whole experience to me because it's probably the most exposed or common tactic that these criminals used. Many people will say it's something that it's a particular thing that has cast. Let me put it like that. It's something that has casted or so that's the term they use. It's something that is very common and almost everybody is aware of their tricks. So he said he got a call from his bank about a suspicious activity on his account. And then the caller asked him to confirm a particular OTP that was sent, you know, by that was sent to his phone, his mobile device. The moment he gave out this OTP, his account was wiped. Over 2 million naira was wiped from his account. So these are things that happen to everyday people. It can happen to anybody, but by virtue of this podcast that you're listening to now, you are much more aware of these types of attacks. So it will be very unlikely for you to fall for such. You know, a bank official will never call you to ask for an OTP or a personal detail or an account detail. So another case I got to know of was of a woman. This one was not someone I knew. This is someone that I read about the case, or someone shared the story with me. Said the woman got hacked through a free Wi-Fi in Abuja. She's a student, and she was using a free Wi-Fi in a cafe cafe, and then a cyber attacker, a cyber criminal, was on the same network and used a fake banking login page to steal her password. You know, she tried to log in on a banking platform, and then she did not realize that the platform was a cloned one, or a fake bank login page. So that's where she puts her banking details, her login details. By the time she got to her house, all her savings, as you have it, were wiped off her account. So it happens to almost anybody and everybody these days. So what are the things that we can learn from all of this? Never trust a quote unquote bank staff that is asking for an OTP. It will never happen. Most banks will tell you that we will never request for your details, whether on your or via phone calls or via text messages or SMS or emails. So you can always avoid public Wi-Fi for online transactions. Anything related to transactions, try to avoid using free internet. I know the current situation of the country now is the way it is. So at the sight or at the presence of free internet, there's this relief. So I try to advise our listeners to avoid free Wi-Fi, free internet. You know, you can always check for activities on your bank accounts. For those of us that handles basically anybody, actually, let me rephrase, anybody, you can always check your banking activity to account for your transactions and anything that goes in and out of your account. you know so yeah, those are the scenarios I can paint, those are the scenarios I can share, and the lessons that can be learned from them. So yeah.
Okay, you talked about the businessman that lost the sum of 2 million naira. How do you think the victim can recover such amounts back?
Yeah, if you are ever a victim or a falling victim to such acts, here are the things or three steps you can do immediately, and I mean immediately with all sense of urgency. The very first thing is to call the bank and request for an account restriction. It's very important. Call your bank and request for an account restriction. The second step is to report to the Nigerian police, either a cybercrime unit or the EFCC. Ensure you report this particular case and you share every detail of exactly what happened or the things that happened. You know, if you lost money due to a bank transfer scam, report it through. There's a reporting system that you can take advantage of. You know, so you can always take adequate steps to ensure that you are a step closer to recovering your funds if possible. Banks sometimes can reverse fraudulent transactions if you report them quickly. You know, so those are the things you can do, and you need to always act very fast. It's important to act fast.
Okay, thank you for that favor. There's a saying that prevention is always better than cure. So it's always advisable to always stay vigilant and updated. Cyber criminals are getting smarter and more dangerous, but with the right knowledge, you can stay ahead of them. If you found this episode helpful, like this video to help spread awareness. Subscribe to SETTALKS Podcast so you can never miss an update. Share with your family and friends so they don't become the next victims. Have you ever experienced a banking scam? Drop your story in the comments. That's it for today. Stay safe, stay smart, and see you in the next episode of SETTALKS Podcast.